Edit that out.
Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I am Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm tired. I'm also Maddy Grace Weapon.
And today we will be playing part 3 of Anachronox, which is going to be surprising for those of you listening to this in the podcast feed because episode 2 will have gone up yesterday because I'm editing these at the same time because I forgot to edit last week's episode until, as of recording, 4 hours from now. So, whoopsies!
Good job.
But this episode will cover everything up until we get into the fighter plane to go to the hive. Or if you're me, you try to save in front of it, but you accidentally hit the cutscene trigger, and so then you have to play a ridiculously long minigame before you could save.
Yay!
But before all of that, how is everybody's week?
So, some shit is going down.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm sure you all know by now, I work for Blizzard. I'm not going to say much, but I'm going to say that my mental health has been in the fucking garbage.
Yeah, you could just... Anyone listening who doesn't know what you're talking about, instead of you having talked about it, they could simply read an article by Jason Schreier on the internet.
Yes. And as a consequence of my mental health being in the garbage, my physical health has also been in the garbage. So it's been a rough couple of days. But I'm hanging in there as best as I can.
That's good.
I have thoughts. I'm going to keep them to myself. Mm-hmm. But please keep me and everybody who is innocent in your thoughts as well.
Yeah.
Because we need the support right now. Like, I have this fear anytime some big shit show happens, I have this fear that people are going to come at me, like, bombarding me with articles and why are you still working for these horrible people? Like, why aren't you just quitting right on the spot and shit like that? Like, please don't do that to me or to anyone else. Not that I think that anyone listening to us would, but just, like, try to be reasonable and understand that not everybody is culpable.
Fun fact, if workers could simply get any job they wanted at any time, our entire society would collapse. So, the fact that, the fact that workers have less mobility than owners, because if you own a company and you decide you don't like it, you can literally just sell the company and then buy a new company and do that instead. I'm being a little bit reductive, of course, but you basically can't do that. Or if your company goes under, you've got a couple $1,000,000, you can probably survive for a while. But if you want to get a new job, you probably can't because you have to apply and you might not be able to get one. And also, the transitional period costs some money. You might not have any cushion money to do that. So yeah, the lack of mobility for people who have to work for a living is, literally the entire point. So yeah, no, don't dunk on anybody for working at a certain job. And, within a slight amount of reason. But honestly, I got more flexibility on that than most people, frankly.
And, like, well, damn it. In this capitalist hellhole that we live in, every job sucks in some regard. So we should all be trying to make the jobs not suck instead of just telling people to quit their job and then potentially, like, not have a job and not be able to survive.
Exactly, which is simply ridiculous.
Yeah. So,
yeah, that was my week.
Yeah, I unfortunately am not.
Next week, and I need it.
Yeah, well planned vacation. Honestly. It wasn't planned that way on purpose, but wait, what did you know? I'm just kidding.
I had this. I knew about that this was coming back in January. Apparently,
your boy Jason gave you a heads up. But yeah, and I'm actually not totally familiar with what's going on exactly. I did not read either. It's actually funny. It's actually two different things, really, because I remember I followed Jason Schreier on Twitter, and when that big story broke like a week ago, he was like, "Wow, this is awful. Look out for my article coming soon, which is also about the same company and not about what this article is about." And I'm like, "Oh God, there's more." But yeah, I've been too busy to look into it, but I've been vaguely aware of the tweets. Yeah. Okay, moving on.
Maddy, how was your week?
Oh boy, how are we going? I'm somehow even more busy than before. I don't know. So I've been trying to like hang out with people more and like meet some people and like maybe go out to a bar or something occasionally. And the reason I'm doing it is because my life is feeling very constrained. Because like, if you look at my schedule, there's so few gaps where I get to like do something, right? And it's not that I don't like the things that I do with my life. I do. It's just that the things that I like to do with my life make my life extremely like on a very linear schedule, right? And sometimes they don't have not having any room for like that like spontaneity or escape valve can get to you, right? So I'm like, I want to do more things in my life, so I should like meet some new people or go out to a bar, do some karaoke, something like that. Hang out with some friends that I haven't hung out with before, or like people that I've not like there's this one person that I'm often in a group with this person, but we haven't ever hung out one-on-one. And I'm like, you're cool. We should like hang out one-on-one sometime and like be like friends instead of just acquaintances, right? But here's the problem: all of those things that would help my problem take time. And right now, it's like my life has X amount of free time, and it's not very much. But if I do the thing that I think will make my life feel better and make me feel less bad, then I'll be even more busy and stressed. So it's very difficult. Very, very, very.
A little bit of a catch-22 there.
Very much catch-22 situation. But for now, I'm going with that one. I'm going with, frankly, I'd rather be maybe a little bit more exhausted and run down if it gives my life a little bit more variety, right? But who knows? Maybe that won't be a good idea, and I'll have to rethink things. So anyway, all that being said, I'm quite worn out. I'm quite tired. Although my job's been a little bit easier lately because they hired not one but two new workers to be on the same shift as me. And having two people on the same shift means that there's less work for everybody, which is great. We've been understaffed since I started there. So that's really, really nice. I'm very worried that one of them's going to quit. And then we'd be back to having the same problem we had before. But oh yeah, also, I didn't tell you this before, but we didn't have a functioning washer and dryer in our house for like a month, which is really annoying. It's really, wow, like, you forget how much of a blessing it is to have a washer and dryer in your home until you don't have it anymore. Like, yep. Holy cow. I've actually been lucky in that regard now that I think about it. The only place I've ever lived that didn't have a washer and dryer in it was... Well, no, never. I guess the place I lived when I first moved to California, had one in the building. It was an apartment complex, and you did have to you had to pay to use it. But still, it was in the building. It was down the hall. So having to go to a friggin' I've only occasionally had to go to a laundromat, and it's because something happened. My laundry machine's broken. But yeah, boy. You really forget you really don't realize what you're missing. You either have to go to a laundromat, which takes so long, right?
It really does.
You gotta it takes so long. Or you gotta oh, I'm going to my friend's house. Hey, do you mind if I do a load of laundry at your house while we're hanging out? But we finally so that going on for a month meant our house was just getting in a worse and worse state of repair because we were getting more and more behind on on clothes and stuff. Also, our sink was having issues. We were getting behind on dishes. Anyway, all those problems are fixed now. And things are getting a little bit back to normal, which is really good for me and also my partner, who was having a rough one. So anyway, yeah, no, life's like, there's a lot of annoying, dumb things happening, but other than that, life's great. Life's bripping. Also, the new Kanye album was supposed to come out today, and it hasn't yet, and I'm gonna die.
Cool.
We'll
my
miss you.
week has been exhilarating. So, I mentioned last week, I think, maybe the week before, I don't fucking remember, that my plan was to have a bunch of shitty weeks so that I could have some not so shitty weeks quicker.
Okay, I get it.
And so, because I had all these weddings I was editing for my brother, and they looked like there was no end in sight, etc., etc. So I put a iOS 14 shortcut on my phone to text Summer every time I opened Twitter or Sudoku or any of my apps that I just disappear into for hours at a time. So she could then nag at me to tell me to get back to work, and all of these other things that like are bad, are not fun. I do not recommend anybody do that. Like, it's like, live your life, live your truth, etc. But I wanted to be able to take my kids to the beach this summer and not wait until next summer, because I would still be chipping away at these weddings. So I had a couple really shitty weeks, and as of tomorrow at like 1 p.m. probably, I will be done, unless they like need like small edits or whatever, but I will have delivered the final video tomorrow. And we went to the beach on Sunday, and it was great, and just in time for another month of summer before it becomes 6 months of winter. And
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, so it's super weird, because like I've had extremely regimented days with like this is my main task for the like X amount of time from now until then, and like a lot of times things overlapped, and I just kind of had to make it work. Like, I would have to be doing laundry while editing the wedding, while doing dishes, and you just kind of had to make it work, because we don't have a washer and dryer with us. We have to go across the street to the laundromat, and it's annoying, and I hate it. And like, it's just been nuts. And so now it's like, oh, what's my task today? Oh, I guess I'm just going to play 6 hours of Style Savvy and just hang out, because I got my first taste of that this week, because I was waiting on something from one of the clients before I could even start on their video. So I had like 2 or 3 days where I had nothing going on, and it was great. I just sat for the first time in a while, and it was great, because it was actual sitting and not guilt sitting, which is a very important distinction. Yeah, other than that, I'm super excited for The Last of Us coming up here in a little bit, and then also our next game, which I'm excited to tell everyone about, but I should probably wait like 2 weeks to do it.
You gotta wait. I understand though. But I understand not being involved with it, which is a shame. But yeah, The Last of Us is so dope. I'm gonna have to find time to play it. Next week after next is National DSA Convention, like I was mentioning, and I'm taking off one of my 2 jobs. That means I'm actually going to be more busy, because I'm taking off a job to do something that is more hours than my job. But I actually think it's going to be a good week for me that feels less busy. Because the thing about my job, one of my 2 jobs, is that there's stuff you got to do outside the job. You know, like tutoring. Like it's kind of an always job. Emails, and phone calls, and also anyway. So and also it'll be a more consistent schedule. So for a variety of reasons, it's just like, even though, again, literally I'll be extremely busy, I think I'm actually going to, it'll be like an amazing breath of fresh air to have this thing happening in a week and a half, which means I'll have time to, part of that will be sitting down and playing The Last of Us for, 10 hours or so.
Yeah. And it does have a really good Gamers Little Playground video. If you do not have time to play it since you have already played it, you could just
I would hate to not get to play it again. It's so good. Also, frankly, I might get to let my game design freak flag fly a little bit, like I haven't as much lately. Because boy oh boy, they got some great stuff in this game design wise.
But speaking of things that are questionable in game design, let's listen to some music and talk about the mini games this week.
Oh Lord!
I mean the plot this week.
Oh Lord!
All right, Maddy, take it away.
All right, so when we last left our heroes, heroes is a questionable term. The plot had not started yet, and we left the planet of Anachronox to go to a place called Sunder. If you recall, we're going to Sunder just kind of because the guy who's with us, Grumpos Maximus, wanted to research ancient shit, so we're going there. That's kind of just it. There's a little more to it than that. We got some people shaking us down for money, etc., but whatever, right? And we also have a new party member, our little robot friend named Pal, who talks like a robot version of Meatwad.
That's not good.
So anyway, we're not at Sunder yet, actually. We're at a Cinder Station. You might not remember, but the Cinder Stations is what those big spheres are that we were in earlier. Anachronox was inside of a Cinder Station. There is also one here. So we're orbiting Sunder. So we got to get on a train. They do call it a train, right?
Yeah, the brain train.
Okay, it's not a train. It is. I was very excited for the train. It's not a train. It is very clearly a space shuttle, but they call it a train. So I'm probably just going to call it a train. We got to get on a train from Cinder to Sunder, and that train's called the Brain Train. It turns out we don't have enough brain for the Brain Train. To explain why that is, Sunder is a whole planet of scholars. It's nerd zone. So in order to get down there, we need 4 things. So you'll realize.
Good idea, by the way.
Yep. So you're gonna find out this week that that this whole game is fetch quests. This whole game is it really is a LucasArts adventure game. It's like, oh, there's one plot beat. You got to do a bunch of side quests to collect the doodads to advance the plot. So in order to go to the planet of Sunder, we need 4 things. 1, we need smart person clothes. Otherwise, they won't let us in because we don't look like a smart person. 2, we need credentials from the Scientifica Institute. 3, we need a ticket to the Brain Train. 2, actually, 1 for each of us. They are currently sold out. And finally, if we manage to do all of that, we're going to have to pass the Brain Bouncer, who will test our brain. After a lot of so we explore the Cinder Station. It's huge. This game, I'm pretty sure none of these areas we're going to be coming back to. Like, you go to all these areas for like 10 minutes, and they're so enormous. They went nuts here. So anyway, there's a lot of exploring. I am going to skip over most of it because, unlike the last 2 weeks, there actually is a pretty good bit of stuff to get through here. So I'm not going to be elaborating as much as I usually do. I ended up cutting out a lot of my notes, etc., etc. Also, again, the game is really sprawling with its side quests, so I actually started using a little bit of a guide this time around because I just needed to hightail it. Basically, which is a shame. But hopefully, in future weeks, I'll be able to take it a little bit more sleazy.
Yeah, especially if we keep switching off like we have been. So
yeah, maybe I'll keep it sleazy in the off weeks where I'm not doing the notes. Anyway, after exploring Cinder Station a lot, we eventually find the Cinder Station Gold Deluxe Palatial Royal Penthouse Suites. This is a fancy ass hotel, even though we're like on a space station. It's got like landscaping outside and everything. Eventually we find a scientist, you can tell because he's dressed like a scientist, named Dr. Brywell. He has a ticket to Sunder. Cool. But he complains that though he's a brilliant and esteemed scientist who's won like 1 billion awards, he's like isn't really satisfied with his life, and he really wishes he could fall in love. And wink wink, he may never even return to Sunder. Curious. So also we find a computer that we hack into and download scientific credentials. Well, that was easy. We hack into things if you forgot, or if we forgot to mention it last week, using PAL's special ability. Eventually, so that's one thing down. Eventually, we head to the red light district, or we attempt to, through a bunch of tunnels with battles. We come across a corpse with a really fancy gun, sadly destroyed, and signs of a struggle. Also, the door to the red light district has been damaged and won't open. Heck, also I just realized the thing with the dead guy, the corpse here, is actually a side quest that I never followed up on, so
me neither.
In case you're curious,
I found him before I found the detective.
In case you're curious about where that's heading, nowhere, because I didn't investigate that. So forget I said anything. Anyway, here's another ticket lead. A scientist who was sent to Brebula, to look for dope artifacts. But he didn't find any, so he's really worried that he's going to get punished or even exiled for returning empty-handed without any artifacts. So we have Grumpos yammer at him until he gives up his ticket. That's one ticket down. At some point, we run into a guy named Goat Knife. He tells us there's a ticket scalper who's really into clowns. Eventually, we see a clown. And a lady who's really into the clown. We talk to her, and she says, I'm not a ticket scalper. What are you talking about? Turns out the person nearby was a ticket scalper. However, she is...
So it was her son, which is the best part.
Yep.
It's her, 8-year-old son.
Turns out there's actually more than 2 tickets here. There's a few different ways you can get your tickets, and I pursued this path, so I won't go into the other path, unfortunately.
Yeah, I did that too, but then I also ended up accidentally paying for one.
Nice.
I ended up with 4 tickets because I was following the guide, and the guide didn't say you only needed 2. I needed 2 all the things on the guide.
Well, these are the 2 that I got. She is very lonely ever since her scientist husband died. She could never forget or replace him, but sometimes she does wish she could meet someone new. Hey, look at that. So we go back to the lonely scientist, and we see a rose on his table. We take the rose, give it to the lady, say it's from Brywell, even though it's not, and then they meet up, and he decides to stay at the station and gives us his ticket. Nice! We got our 2 tickets out of 4. We go to a Vendo Mart, a fully automated vending machine store, and we hack into a terminal to get some scientist clothes. Our boy looks like a total idiot. It's very funny. Well, that's all of our tasks. We did it. Hooray. And again, there's probably other ways to do all of these, but that's how I did it. And there's, because, yeah, again, I actually had to use a guide a little bit on this one, but it wasn't even using the guide to tell me what to do. It was more using the guide to tell me what to not do. Like, oh, that's optional. I'm not going to do it. Oh, that's a side quest. I'm not going to do it. So anyway, now we just gotta face Brain Bouncer. So we go to get on the train, and there's this guy who's the Brain Bouncer, and he basically is just like, yeah, I'm gonna test your brain. So he goes, before you get in, I don't remember what question he asks. Unfortunately, he asked Grumpo, like, he's like, what is such and such? You know, produce gold. No, he asks some fancy, science question, like, how do neutrino whatevers work? And it's made up. It's not real science. So then
you can't get it wrong. Like, yeah, there's like 4 nonsense answers to choose from, and all of them are right.
Yeah, so basically you get to pick what Grumpo says, and he says super complicated fantasy or sci-fi gobbledygook, and then Brain Bouncer's like, good job, and you go on through. Then it's our turn. and our boy is dumb. So he asks us, "Okay, time to test your brain." And Pal jumps in and he goes, "Excuse me, sir, do you speak Owugan?" And he's like, I speak like 500 languages, but I don't know. I've never even heard of Owugan. And Pal is like, "Yeah, man, Owugan. My buddy here is from the planet of Owuga, and it's a super obscure city, a super obscure planet. You've probably never heard of it. And yeah, he only speaks Owugan. But he's the most esteemed scientist in all of Owuga. He's really excited to be here, but I'm his translator." So the guy asks Boots a similar question, and then Pal pretends like he's talking to Boots and then says the right answer. It's really, really cute scene here. So anyway, we get on the brain train and we fly on the train to Tsundere. We get to spend some time on the flight talking with the scientists about bullshit. It really doesn't matter. And then we arrive on Tsundere. Our cutscene sadly doesn't show us like nature. It's like another it's like we started the game like on a shitty dystopian space station, and then we were on another space station. Now we're actually on a planet, but we still don't really get to see much like real world. It's still like a city. A little bit of a shame, honestly. I would love to go in some actual natural environment at some point. Whatever.
I saved my game in a weird fleshy cave, so
there's been a couple caves so far. So anyway, we land and we exit. This place is quite fancy and non-shitty, so it's very special. It's very high, high sci-fi. It's very clean and sleek. Fatima contacts us and tells us she did some research on Ro Bowman. I just realized while playing this week that Bowman is a reference to 2001: A Space Odyssey, obviously. Unless I'm misremembering the movie, but I'm pretty sure Bowman is the main character's name. In case you're curious, Ro Bowman is someone that we're here to see. We're here to talk to. So it turns out that... Do we already know that Ro Bowman was a girl?
No, it's not revealed until you finally...
Cool. Until right here. Okay, yeah. So it turns out that Ro Bowman is a girl.
I love her. She's my wife.
Wait, sorry. I mean, I use the pronoun she here in this paragraph, but she's actually referring to Fatima, not Ro. You're right. We find out that Bowman's a girl later.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking at the what antecedent of this pronoun. Anyway, when Fatima died, Boots went on a self-help kick apparently and read a book about harnessing the power of Mystech written by Ro Bowman. Anyway, Fatima can't find where he, quote unquote, is now, except 6 months ago he may have traveled to somewhere called the Rainbow Sanctuary. If we were talking to NPCs earlier, we might already know about the Rainbow Sanctuary. It's some kind of prison exile for heretics. Another NPC says that the Rainbow Sanctuary is past the security checkpoint over there. We go to the security checkpoint over there. There's a giant tricolor laser gate and a PAX guard. The guard says he's not going to let you pass. And even if I did let you pass, the lasers. And then Boots is literally just like, "Hey, so like, what if we cleverly distracted you and then went past you?" And he's like, "Well, I guess like you could try that. It won't work, but if you did, in theory, hypothetically, for the sake of argument, so to speak, you could, but you would also need to disable the lasers." And we're like, "Well, how do we disable the lasers?" And he's like, "Well, if you wanted to disable the lasers, you would have to get the 3 different frequencies from the guards and use 3 different guards who know 3 different frequencies, and that would not turn the lasers off, but it would like reduce their strength. But then after that, you would need to find an object, like a small thin object, to put in a little slot to block the lasers." And again, this is all purely hypothetical. And we're like, "Cool, man, thanks." Another real cute scene. So we have another side quest, and another 4-part side quest. So we go to a lounge, and a robot gives us complimentary playing cards. We can use that to stop the lasers. That was fast. A guard is mad that a newspaper machine won't give him the newspaper he paid for, so we hack into it, and it gives him the paper, and he gives us the frequency. But it turns out he just wanted the newspaper to line his birdcage. We use Yammer on a third guard until he gives it up. There is more to it than that, but I didn't think it was interesting, so I didn't write it down. We Yammer, and he gives us the thing. And finally, there is a guard who is enjoying his morning coffee and shooting the shit with another NPC. We ask for his frequency. He says, "Fuck off! I ain't telling you." So we pick his briefcase lock, and it's written on his agenda. Cool. That didn't take long at all. We have 3 party members, and we use each of their special abilities on someone to get their thing. So then the guard lets us pass. He actually says if he loves someone, set them free. He clearly has really grown to like us a lot, probably because we listened to him talk. I know that makes me fall in love with somebody. That's actually not true. I hate when people even though y'all might think I love to talk, but what I love more when the other person loves to talk is then I get to stop talking and not feel like I need to impress them. I just let them talk and be interested by the other person. Anyway, yeah. No,
if you remember way back in like Persona and Rogue Galaxy, we had the problem where all of us really like to hear the rest of us speak, and so one person would just start talking for an hour.
Yeah.
And things would get off the rails because we were just like, go on.
Yeah.
And
if I'm meeting a new person who's cool and they want to holler at me about something for an hour, that is fine. It's totally great. I love it. And for 2 reasons. The second most important reason is that I then don't feel bad when I holler back at them for an hour. Because I do enjoy hollering about things for an hour. I just like to be equivocal about it. But that's only the second most important thing. The most important thing is that for that whole hour, I don't have to feel like I have to make them think I'm cool. Anyway, that's what's going on here with this card. So we briefly enjoy a stroll where we actually see a whole sprawling metropolis. It's very graphics. And then we get to the Rainbow Sanctuary, and it's basically a sanatorium. Rainbow implies it's literally it's not even like fancy graphics or anything. It just looks like a building. You're just in a building, and it's got rainbows painted on the walls because it's a happy place. So we say we're here to see Bowman, and the secretary guides us through. As the secretary guides us through, there's all these doors that require certain passwords, and it's like, maybe we should remember these passwords for the doors. There's also some interesting dialogue with inmates. They're all just being, stereotypically, quote, insane. You know, they're doing things that you make a character do when you're saying that they're crazy, right? Nothing that interesting. So we get to Ro Kana, and in a big cutscene, we learn what's up. She is working on some kind of, first of all, she's extremely cool.
She's kind of the main character from that Matrix video game.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah, she looks like she's from the Matrix, basically.
Yeah, she looks like the what's the internet rule where you switch genders of a character? She looks like the
gender swap, whatever.
Yeah, the gender swap of Morpheus.
Yeah, she's not very much like Morpheus, but she does look like if a human was cosplaying as Morpheus at a con and had a different personality. Or was like being an OC. Matrix OC.
Yeah. Matrix OC.
She's cool as fuck, okay?
She's great.
So we learn what's up. It turns out she's working on some kind of Mystech experiment. She's trying to extract... Oh, yeah, she's got a ton of Mystech in her room. She's trying to extract dormant energy. But the experiment doesn't work. She tries to do it, and right in front of us, we see it not working. She tells us that she believes Mystech is from a, quote, future universe, and it responds to changes in the space-time continuum. Cool. We talk some more, but then it starts to glow bright blue, the Mystech does. Bowman freaks out. Oh, and then all the Mystech starts glowing bright blue. She freaks out and says, y'all gotta get off Sunder immediately, and I'm gonna come with you. What? And then it turns out, out of nowhere, there is an enormous space-time anomaly happening, and it might destroy the entire planet in 8 minutes, and prom's tomorrow. So we take the key to her private shuttle, and we run out. She says she'll follow us soon, so don't leave without me. So now we have an 8-minute time limit. Everyone loves a time limit dungeon. But unlike, for example, Final Fantasy...
You know what killed me on this one?
What?
Some doors, you click on the door. Other doors, you click on the keypad on the wall. And this first door you have to leave through is a keypad door, and not the first door you leave through, but the one that like actually leaves the rainbow place is a keypad door and not a door. So I thought I had broke something, because the guide I was using was like, oh, hey, there's a bug here. You can use no clip to walk through this door that like has a spinny Fatima, so you should be able to walk through it, but it doesn't actually open. But if you use no clip, there's an item back there. So I knew I was in the right spot. I wasn't going to put in a no clip code just to go get a fucking item. I didn't give a shit. But then nothing was clickable. And so I thought, shit, like, do I have to get the item? Like, what do I have to do? And I wasted about a minute and a half of my not a lot of time not clicking on the button to open the door.
Rip.
Yep.
Yeah, so as Sam was saying, those passwords that we saw earlier, we have to remember those passwords from earlier and put them into the doors. Then we gotta go through a bunch of tunnels. It's not a dungeon, there's no battles or anything, but there is lots of dialogue. There's a lot of fun flavor if you feel like talking to NPCs when you're supposed to be escaping. Turns out, though, what happens is every time we talk to an NPC, Boots is like, get off the planet. Everything's gonna get destroyed. And they're like, yeah, all right, man. So not a single person believes us. So it's of no use. We're not able to save anybody. So with over a minute to spare, if you're me, we reach the shuttle. And then Bowman arrives shortly after, and we fly off, and then the entire planet is ripped in two. Yeah. Not metaphorically, I mean it gets split into two halves of a planet. And then we have a mini game where we gotta dodge debris. It's literally like a little 2D side scroller where you gotta fly your ship up and down and dodge little asteroids. It's fun.
It was real hard for me, so I gotta use the...
I beat it on my first try, but it was quite difficult. It's fine. It's whatever. It's about as... I don't know. It's maybe a little bit less fair and a little bit more frustrating than, for example, the gummy ship from Kingdom Hearts 2, but it is also a little bit more difficult in a way that, in my opinion, is good. Not difficult as in, like, I love it when games are super hard. I'm just saying that the gummy ship in Kingdom Hearts is mind-numbingly easy. So it's slightly more engaging and slightly more bullshit, if you want to know where we're at on the shoehorning in a shooter segment into a game scale.
Fun fact, for the second, more different shooter section that's coming up, one cutscene from where we in today, you know the really bad, not fun Banjo-Tooie gummy ship type star?
Oof,
or
yeah.
Jiggy? Imagine that plus gummy ship plus the wonky hitboxes that are this game. Like, picking up items sucks in this game. Now imagine trying to do it in a firefight.
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah,
Have fun next week, everybody.
All right, so I thought this one was kind of fun. I'm glad to know that there is a worse one coming up, because I was a little disappointed. I was wanting it to be worse, so I'm glad to hear that. Me, when a game is good, I sleep. Me, when a game is bad, real shit. Anyway, we do that. And then there's like some kind of portal appears, and then like half of the planet gets obliterated, and then there's a huge shockwave, but then there's a quote cinder spike. I don't know what that is. It's like an oblong.
So cinder stations that we were on earlier is kind of like like a big ball of Mass Effect relays that point off to a whole bunch of different places, and the Cinder Spike is a singular Mass Effect relays. Eli, if you don't know what this is, the Mass Effect Legendary Edition is on sale for 20% off on the PlayStation Network.
Oh, don't care.
This podcast sponsored by the Mass Effect trilogy, available now wherever video games are sold.
And so the Cinder Spike that they're going for is the Mass Effect relay, so they can get out of the system and not be obliterated by those.
See, I kind of figured like visually I intuited that, but yeah, I didn't really know. So anyway, and the reason we know it's called a Cinder Spike is because they say, look, it's a Cinder Spike. So anyway, yeah, it's a spike-shaped space-time thingy with an object in the middle. We fly into it and kind of spin around, and the wave passes through us, and then we're kind of yeeted off into the distance. I really cannot explain what's going on with the graphics here. There are a lot of them, and they're very blocky and very and barely readable. It's kind of like Homestuck, where to use another reference that Eli won't get. It's like Homestuck, where it's like, yeah, I'll watch this 10-minute long Flash video. I don't understand anything that just happened. It looked cool, and then if you watch it 5 more times, then you actually get that there were very clear like plot happening. It was just so fast you didn't notice. That's kind of what's going on here. Whatever.
Watching a Homestuck video is seeing your eyes bleed for a second, and then you go to the wiki to read what happened in the video.
Yep. So anyway, so now the party is floating in nowhere space. They're lost. They don't know where they are. Bowman laments that the finest minds in the galaxy have all been lost, setting science back 100 years. Boots says, it's your fault. You caused it with that mistech. She's like, no, the mistech was very clearly just responding to the anomaly. I didn't make that happen. So their engine is dead. Navigation's kaput. They're going to run out of life support in like 2 weeks. So we get a cute little montage of how they spend their time. Day 1. They're playing 20 questions. So Boots is the one doing the questions, and they're like, is it this? Is it that? And he's like, no. And then finally they run out of questions, and he goes, it was Anachronox. And then Bowman is like, but earlier you said it started with a U. And he's like, yeah, Anachronox. Yeah, so Boots is dumb. Day 2, Bowman and Fatima talk about their past romances. Day 4, Pal does a little dance. Day 6, Bowman is depressed. Pal tries to cheer her up, etc., etc. Finally, on day 17, which you might know is more than 14, which is how long 2 weeks is. So I'm guessing that they're just really, really stretching. Like, it's cute. Like they said earlier, we got 2 weeks, and so they're probably gonna like die any day now, right? Also, they're all getting more and more annoyed of each other this whole time. So day 17, Grumpo castigates Boots for leaving socks everywhere, and then they get in a fight. But as they're in their fight, suddenly a tractor beam sucks them all in to some space station that goes all the way around a planet. It's like that movie Elysium. So we exit our ship in the hangar bay, and Boots kisses the ground. He's so glad to not be in space anymore. He is still in space. And then some robots show up and threaten us, and then Bowman shoots a fucking fireball at it. So we now have a battle, and Bowman can shoot fireballs now, which is good because the battle will be pretty hard otherwise.
You actually can't lose this battle.
Oh, okay.
If you notice, your health and MP don't have numbers.
Did not notice. So here's what the fuck's going on. Turns out all the mistech in the galaxy has been dormant until now. They've just been rocks, and people have been investigating the rocks, trying to get them to do things. Anyway, I don't know why, but now all the mistech in the entire galaxy has been activated. So everyone can use it to cast magic and shit now. Just giant change in the whole galaxy. We didn't have magic, and now everyone can use magic. This is Bowman explaining this. So Bowman gives us a lore and also / tutorial dump. It's both at the same time. So basically, our mistech devices are called slags, and you can equip different slags. For lore reasons that I won't go into too much, the Mistech syncs to a person's emotions and can detect if we're mad or concerned or whatever, and the slag responds to our emotions, which means that every slag can be cast on both a friend or a foe, and if you cast it on a foe, it does bad thing. If you cast it on a friend, it does good thing. Which is cool. Every spell is dual purpose: hurt friend, heal enemy, just depending on who you target. To quote Bowman, in other words, Mr. Boots, all you have to do is get mad at bad people. And sorry, this is Pal explaining it because you're stupid. All you have to do is get mad at bad people and feel worried about your friends. Mistech will take care of the rest. Also, every Mistech can be used at its base MP level, or, like in Chrono Cross, it can be used at 2 times, 4 times, or 8 times MP level. This makes it stronger. It doesn't just make it stronger, it also might have unique effects at each level. Again, this is all very scientific. They explain, like stuff like electron shells and stuff to explain why this works. Whatever. So that's the new system. We got magic spells now. We decide to leave Bowman to guard her shuttle, while the 3 of us explore. Also, she gives Boots her fire slag. So we exit, and it's a friendly zone, actually. We're on the planet of Votown, like Vote Town, but with an E on the end because it's yield, right? Yield Votown.
Yes.
Home of the Democratans. Democratans would be a better way to pronounce it. But I my brain kept thinking that the first A should have been an I for some reason. So that's why but I had to make sure it was an A. Anyway, the Democratans. We meet Keeber, not Keebler, Keeber, who was sent by the Hospitality Committee. That's right, folks. We got committees. He says, "Oh man, we're really sorry that Sentry robot tractor beam beamed you in here and also attacked you. It shouldn't have been doing that. Like, that shouldn't have been a thing. We were actually trying to turn them all off. We just didn't get to turn it off before it did that. But, like, dude, right now there's a huge emergency, so, like, most of us are in a meeting to discuss it. So, like, just feel free to explore, I guess. I can't stay here anymore. I gotta go back to the meeting. Also, we do continue to get attacked by Sentry robots. Anyway, Fatima shows up, and she explains what's going on here. So she says, Democratus is a super bureaucratic planet, and everything's run by committee. They were super hardcore isolationists until their emperor died last year. Now they're trying to open up. Now, I missed something here. Does she imply that they've been doing society in this democratic way just since the emperor died?
I believe so.
They never really say that as far as I can tell, so it makes it seem like, no, they've been this way forever, but also their emperor died last year, which is leading to changes in society, which makes me wonder if you had an emperor, why that doesn't make sense. But also, whatever, it doesn't matter. Their emperor died last year, and that made their society change in a lot of ways. I'm not sure if that includes the whole democracy thing. But the way that matters is that they're trying to open up, be less isolationist, which is why they have, for example, a hospitality committee. Also, just to be clear, we're still not on the planet, we're on a ring world around the planet. That's where the upper class lives, and the workers live on the planet. So, this place also is very fancy looking. We explore, we get to a guard blocking a door. The emergency session is in there, but only allies of the council are allowed in. But we could become allies of the council if we go vote and are, quote, of like mind. So we go to the voting station. A dude registers us to vote. He gives us our voting button and then gives us a paper ballot. He says, "Oh, you don't have our fancy digital voting yet, so here's a paper ballot." So we look at our ballot, and it's got all these ballot measures. So, Festival of Choice Election, Section 8, Votown. So basically, this place actually, they here. Well, I'll tell you about the ballot in a second. Okay. So an NPC explains what's up. On Democratus, everything is decided by direct democracy. even though earlier Fatima said everything was bureaucratic and done by committee, those are different things, Ion Storm. Completely different things. Those are not remotely related things. Do they also have committees? Like, whatever. But apparently every single day there is voting on things. It's like in are there ballot measures in Texas?
There have been.
Okay.
I voted on a couple.
I wasn't sure if there literally weren't any per our state constitution, or if they just didn't happen very often. Because I don't remember ever having done one. In California, they're a huge fucking thing. People are always doing goddamn ballot propositions in California.
I might have. They might have just been like Travis County ones, and not actually Texas.
Maybe
Texas
that's
statewide.
or who knows? Maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention back when I was in Texas. So yeah, everyone votes on these ballot measures every single day. Also, if you don't vote, they will kill you, or they might kill you. It's not very good to not vote. Anyway, here's the thing, though. Everyone gets to vote on everything, but the general public is stupid. So there's an 8-person high council. They all have a single vote every day, just like everyone else. They just have one vote. But at the end of the day, after the voting is done, they all say how they voted. And if the vote goes the other way from what the High Council voted, there are, quote, negative repercussions. I did not talk to enough NPCs to learn what that is, but sounds bad. So your average citizen tries to vote the way that they think the High Council would to avoid the negative repercussions. Also, they always leak their votes, quote, on accident each day anyway. So basically it's like, it's totally autocratic. It's run by an 8-person committee, and everyone just tries to intuit what they think the council will vote for, and then do that. And there's also joking about like illusion of free choice. Like Septerracore, this world also recently became a democracy, and then everyone decided that democracy was bad, actually. Anyway, so the goal here is, this is another multi-part side quest. This time is an 8-part side quest, unlike last time, which was only 4. We have 8 ballot measures. I'll go ahead and read them. First, should the maximum ramp angle throughout Votown be 45 degrees? Proposition 2. Huh?
I said yes.
Yeah, that was funny. I feel like the joke is that most of these are really, like, ridiculous, but
oh, yeah.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, 45 is way too steep, actually. But it's like, wait, no, like, mandating, like, building codes for accessibility is a totally reasonable thing to be voting on. Anyway, 2. Shall cyclical vomit torture be abolished as a form of punishment for first-degree murder committed by planet dwellers? Proposition 3. Shall the preparation and selling of dangerous squizzle beets for consumption be a misdemeanor? Proposition 4. Shall Pulse Cafe be the official color of next year's Festival of Choice? Proposition 5. Shall outroller possessions of narcotics be punishable by death-likely sentence? Parentheses, immediate complete use of all substances in possession. That's a good one.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I like how it's death likely. Proposition 6. Shall it be a felony to possess, sell, or export bipedry meat for globbering consumption? Prop 7.
Not just regular consumption, globbering.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Apparently globbering is a thing they do on the planet. I forget the lore there. Prop 7. Shall planet dweller deforestation of Waluigi's... No, that's not right. Shall planet dwelling deforestation of Waugi's forest for dort herding be allowed? And finally, Prop 8. Shall marriages between... That's cute. Wait, no, this predates... Never mind. That's the funny coincidence. Y'all realize the funny coincidence here?
I was thinking that too, because like I saw what Prop 8 was, and I was like, did this take place during the whole Prop 8 thing?
No, it predates it by a couple years.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I was actually about to make a joke about Prop 8, and then I realized that no. So the Proposition 8 in this game is can people from the ring and people from the planet get married or not?
Anachronox predicted Prop 8
which
in
is
California.
funny because if you know your history, sometime in the aughts, I don't know, 2008.
I feel like it was
maybe.
Was it that late?
Whatever, it doesn't matter. There was a ballot proposition. Prop 8 was to ban gay marriage, right?
Yes, it was.
Like they already had it, and then they're just like, hey, what if we just had everyone vote on it? And yeah, it didn't.
It was 2008.
Hey, wow, look at that. God damn.
Anachronox predicted it.
The only thing, the reason I knew that was because there was a really, honestly, really annoyingly cringy little, like 10-minute long musical that a bunch of celebs did. You know how celebs love to do their things about their causes that they support. So a bunch of popular celebs did like a little musical number about Prop 8, and Neil Patrick Harris was in it, because of course he would be. And the only reason I knew who Neil Patrick Harris was, or was into him, was because I really liked Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, because back in the day that was the kind of thing that I liked. So I knew that it had to have happened after Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, which was when I was in high school, which is why I was able to correctly guess 2008. Bam! Anyway. Yeah, so very funny little coincidence there. So we got to figure out how to vote on all of these.
All of that. For the listeners, that's what every single thought with ADHD is all of those steps to get to when this Prop 8. And roll back the tape. It took Maddy about 2 seconds to get through all of those steps.
Do y'all want to know how many Do y'all want to know how many dates I can remember by comparing them to when Kanye had his thing with Taylor Swift at the Grammys? That's like before or after that is how I categorize a lot of things in my life when I was in high school. Anyway, so we got to figure out how to vote on all of these. I'm not going to go into all of them, honestly. We figured out how to vote on Prop 2 from a poster. And Prop 6, we yammer at an ally of the council until he spills the beans. Another person says that she'll tell us how they voted on Prop 8 if
we kiss her.
Yeah, but
either Boots or Grumpos.
That's right. Okay, I was about to say who kisses her. I couldn't remember who it was, but that's right. We get to pick. I had Grumpo give her a kiss. Oh yeah. Also, all these people are very ugly. That's sort of one of the running gags, is that they're really gross looking. Which, you know, it's aliens. Every alien thinks the other aliens look gross because they're different species. But, yeah, so it's the whole thing. Grumpo gives her a kiss, and then later he's like, I feel sick. And we gotta drop him off at our hotel, which is a way for the game to make us change party members, which is kind of clever, actually. Anyway, I'm not gonna go into it more, but we get the rest of the votes, and then we go vote. And after we vote on all 8 of them, the machine says, right then, it says, you agreed with the council. You are now allies of the council. So, yeah, we got our ally card. So then we go to the council. So, hold on. Okay, so we're almost at the end here. There's a big cutscene here. I had a little bit of a trouble getting it all because the cutscenes are in real time with voice acting, and that actually makes it tougher for note taking. It means you gotta, like, go back later and watch it or read a Let's Play or something like that, right? Which is kind of annoying. But basically you go in and they're all debating. They're all having a big debate about what they're gonna do. And of course, and this is the part. This is so yeah. We don't learn what the emergency is till just now. The High Council is bickering over how to stop these giant missiles. There's currently a bunch of missiles going for the planet. They're gonna hit in... When are they gonna hit, Sam? Do you remember? They actually might not say. But the missiles are gonna hit really soon, like in a couple of hours, in a day. Their whole planet's gonna get destroyed. But here they are, arguing about it instead of making a decision. They seem to have no form of parliamentary procedure at all, which probably is why they're having a hard time coming to a decision. It definitely seems like there's some factions going on. If they just put it to a vote, 50%, okay, fine, we made a decision here, but no, they might be working on consensus decision-making, which is a terrible idea. It's really, really bizarre. Whatever. There's all these different things. We learned some lore here. It turns out the missiles are shot by something called the Hive, and the Hive are basically the Borg/Zerg. Which is to say they're a hive mind. They're like the Borg. I use that more common touch point because more people have watched Star Trek than played StarCraft. They're like the Borg if the Borg were biological critters with a hive mind instead of computers, right?
The graphics are hard to tell. They look like they are also robots, so I don't...
That's true, they might also be robots. But the thing is, there's a, what do you call it? There's a hologram in the middle, though, that's very clearly a biological thing. Also, it's whatever. The point is, some kind of weird hive mind. Apparently, they do this a lot. They go to planets, they shoot their missiles, they destroy the entire planet's surface, and then they go and colonize it for themselves. It's a very common thing. They all do it, or not they all do it. They do it all the time, so they know what's going on here. So they're deciding what are they going to do, and after a bunch of bickering, our Ro just jumps in and is like, "Can y'all just shut the fuck up? What the fuck's wrong with you?" They're like, "Who are you?" We're like, "Hey, y'all can't make a decision, but how about we just go destroy the thing? Y'all can just keep your bickering. We'll go destroy it." Now, they do need a ship to go to the hive, which does seem like the council would need to come to a decision on whether they can do that. But no, apparently they're all just like, sure, cool. But in the hangar, there's an army of sentry robots, and they don't have the time to pass a resolution to deactivate the robots. So she's like, whatever, we'll kill robots. Who fucking cares? So that's it. So we leave, and we're gonna go to the really fancy shuttle and fly to the hive. Pal, and this is all one cutscene. They leave, and now they're at the new location. Same cutscene. Pal stops them because the robots in the shuttle are his brothers. Ro determines that Pal is now self-aware. This has actually been happening, for the record. There have been a couple scenes here and there where Pal says something snippy to Boots, and he's like, "Wow, Pal's never done that to me before. That's weird." So he's just like, "I'm not going to do it," and it's really cute. Bowman is like, "Hold on, what's going on here?" So then Bowman says to Pal, like, "Pal, how do you feel right now?" And he's like, "I'm pissed off, man." Which it's really cute. So he's not going to stop us from going, but he won't come with us. And we're like, this is the problem. It's a problem when your AI friend becomes self-aware. So we go past him. He's not going to come with us. But then Boot says on the way, he's like, "Hey, when I get back, you and me are going to have a talk." And then I believe all that's left is we go through a dungeon, and then we get to the ship, and then we save.
Yep.
The end.
The end.
Next week we're going to, again, this is like, I guess you could call this an exciting little narrative that's happening here. We're saving a planet from destruction, but it's still not the capital P plot of the game, because I don't know what that is. Oh, I should have said something. Bowman, because she's already seen one whole planet destroyed in the last, month, she's the one taking the lead on this whole thing. She's being a hero. No one else in this game is a hero. Okay, Boots just wants some money. Grumpo's actively sucks. Pal is just a little robo friend, little freak bastard. Bowman is the one being the hero. We're gonna save the day. I don't want anyone else to get destroyed. Blah 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 blah. So that's what's going on there. Cool. So now that we're done with that, let's do some music.
Dope. Memorable moments. Somebody else go first, because I blasted through this and did not take any down. So
I kept mine pretty light this week, so I'll do my two. Did you have more than two, Eli?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool. Because if you do all yours, they might be the same as mine, and they're, you know how it is. I also was keeping it pretty quick. When you're in the first place, the Thunder, there's the super fancy suite. So there's two hotels, two inns. There's the one that we can stay at, and then the fancy pants one I mentioned earlier. When you go to stay, they're like, oh, that'll be 5,386 gold, and you can't afford it. And it's always one more gold than you have.
Yeah.
Which is really cute. I always think jokes like that are cute because what makes them cute to me is that from a programming standpoint, it's the easiest thing in the world. All you gotta do is put a variable text, and the variable is amount of gold plus 1. And the fact that it's so easy to program, for me, is why it's funny. Because it doesn't make any sense in the plot that would happen. It's like, wait, the universe just magically shifts to your whim? That's so weird. And the programmer is just like, haha, variable go brr. Secondly, when we're on Democratus, there's a really funny exchange. So these 3 guys are hanging out, or 2 actually, and one of them is talking to the other one, and the other one sitting down looks sad, and he goes, I hate for you to hear it like this, Ted, but the fellas all took a vote, and we've decided you should die. Ted goes, what are you saying? You guys have voted to kill me? No, we don't think you should be killed, not at all. We just think you should die. And then he goes, I can't believe it. When? Soon. Very soon. Can I call my wife? You can do whatever you want, Ted. So it's so ambiguous. Like, I don't know if that means we think you're gonna die, which means you are going to die soon due to some action, or if it means, no, we just don't like you and think it'd be dope if you died.
Some of the...
It's really good. It's really good.
Some of the dialogue...
It's almost a shame that it came at this particular time in my life because holy cow, there's so much. Then again, if we wanted to go over all of it, then this would be like a 15 episode long series of us doing 50% talking about funny lines of dialogue.
Yes.
But yeah, all kinds of good stuff. I tried to weave in, of course, whenever I'm explaining the lore of things, sometimes that lore is actually culled from NPC dialogue, right? I collate it into giving you lore. But yeah, those are the only 2 I had.
So
Oh, you actually read them? Oh man.
Yeah, I've been reading through them because they're kind of hilarious. In the where.
Ooh.
He's talking to this, which is very weird.
Yeah, I actually will characterize the Yammers because I do kind of read them. I just sort of like, okay, it's like 5 or 6 screens of text is how it is.
Yeah, it's a lot of text, but I've been skipping side quests.
And what'll happen is it'll be like
gives me
he'll talking about something, and he'll be like, "Hey man, you want to get the ticket to go off planet? Oh man, the ticket always costs so much. And the gas prices nowadays, everything's going to the economy's going in the tank." And then he'll just like go on 10 different topics, right? And just like that kind of way. And eventually he's sharing some story about something that happened to him as a kid, or he's talking about like giving science facts. Like it's that kind of like rambling, and they really are really, really good.
Yeah. I was streaming a little bit for Jen Dagger, who joined the Discord recently, and she was watching me do a yammer at one point, and she's like, "It's like if like one of the game designers went to their grandfather and like asked him to just talk about whatever into a microphone for 10 to 15 minutes."
And then they just threw some cyberpunk on top of it. And it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So after PAL 18 hacks the newspaper vending machine that the PAX guard is smacking around, it spits out a bunch of binary code. And I painstakingly translated the binary, and it says, "Hello, PAL 18. Tell that colossal asshole to stop hitting me. Here's a paper."
It's good.
It's really good. The next yammer that I took note of was Grumpos talking to the guy on the chest. He apparently had a pet Bipedri, which he called a Bippy, which is offensive. You're not supposed to use the B word, dude. Mentioned that he was as dumb as a plumb bob, so apparently these people are Sims fans.
Yes.
Because if you don't know the little green gem thing that sits over top of a Sim's head is called a plumb bob. And apparently he ran out of food at one point and was starving, and so he fucking ate his pet Bipidry.
Oh my gosh.
And apparently they're really tough and hard to eat. So in the apartment complex, the said dormitory, I think it is, or something like that. Or no, it may have been a place on Democratus. I can't remember. But anyway, it was on Democratus because you have to go through a bunch of rooms. It's at a hotel. On floor 3, there's a guy with his head stuck in the elevator door. He's just lying there. His head is stuck between the elevator doors. There's 2 people looking at him, and I didn't talk to them, and I wish I had. I feel like I should have.
So I talked to some of the people there, but on every floor, you have people sitting around the elevator like, man, it's taking forever. Why won't the elevator come here? And then you go to floor 3, and it's because the dude has his head stuck in it.
Yeah, and if you talk to him, he just goes, ow. which is very hilarious to me. I've got some screenshots here too. Oh, okay, so I've got a screenshot of Grumpos talking about his Bipidry. In my youthful optimism, I named him Alejandro after the Hispanic singer. And even though he was dumb as a plumb bob, I had to love him. The poor thing was a castrato. You see, Bipidry breeders cut off their tiny wizardmabobs before they reach pubertus so that they retain their soprano voices. How could I not feel for him?
Those sure were some words.
Yeah. And yeah, looks like that's it.
Okay, so I remember a couple of mine. So on Cinder Station, in the like place with all the gates, the like actual terminal, there's this lady, and her name is Phyllis Collin, and she goes, I can't believe that the Meatles are standing right over there.
Oh yeah, the whole Meatles
album,
thing.
Beat the Meatles, is the greatest record of all time. And so if you look over at the gate she's standing by, there are 4 aliens that look exactly the same, named Paul, Ringo, John, and George. And all of their dialogue plays on Beatles lyrics. And so if you talk to Paul, he goes, have you seen me, grandfather? Ringo says, are you sad because you're all alone? And Paul's like, man, I had a dreadful flight. And John says, Claz, you know it ain't easy. Paul says, Custom tried to bust me for possession of Toka, but I was clean, man. Clean. And there's like 50 of them. And my favorite one is Ringo says, Paul's got a ticket to ride, but he don't care. John says, it doesn't matter much to me either. And Paul says, oh, let it be already. And
it's pretty good.
I appreciate that as a Beatles fan.
There's like 50 of those.
Well, I will say that episode of Powerpuff Girls did it better.
Yes. I love that episode of the Powerpuff Girls.
But other ones that made me crack up, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I'm spacing because I poured through it, and there were several times where I'm like, I should take a screenshot of this so I don't forget, and then I didn't, and then I forgot.
Oh, man.
I just, in general, I loved Cinder Station. Like, it was huge, but it kind of had one central hub area, so it was really hard to get lost in.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it felt like Anachronox felt like a Doom level. Cinder Station felt like a Mario or Banjo-Kazooie level. And
yeah, it's not a bad comparison.
I really liked talking to all of the people and finding out all the stuff. But that was when I had to start booking it because I was still on Cinder Station at like 2:30 this afternoon, and I had to book it to get done.
Speaking of booking it, it's nap time.
Yeah. So let's stop talking. If you like what you heard today, you can check us out on the web at www.rpgbook.club, where you can donate to keep the lights on and help us unlock the next chunk of our long cast, because we just unlocked Final Fantasy 13. Again, we have unlocked the next one before we finish the current one. I think that's just how it's going to keep going forever, because we have a mysterious benefactor named Carr, who's not mysterious, but
he's not at all mysterious. We know his name.
We know his name. We love him. But,
we know where he lives, and it's in our Discord.
But basically, every time we say aloud that, oh man, we only have X amount until the next one, we need to catch up, he's just like, hold my beer, and then catches up. So thanks muchly to Carr.
We love you, buddy.
If you want to be like him, you can go and vote and unlock the next Final Fantasy 13 chunk, which we haven't even come close to doing the first one yet.
Getting there. Stop giving us money. Wait.
You also can listen to the Book Club no Kiseki episodes a month before everybody else does, and you also can vote on our next game when that vote opens up, which it'll open up in about 2 weeks. And I'm really excited for the next vote, and can't wait for you guys to vote on it. But for now, also on our website, there is a link to our Discord. If you come to our Discord, you can hear us record every episode live. So if that's something you want to do, you can do that. But for now,
where are we playing to?
I knew you were going to ask that, and I had the thing up to look at it, and then I started looking for memorable moments instead.
Yay, ADHD! We've all got it.
Yay! Okay, so let's see.
We all have one. Who needs them? They're just like us.
I don't get it.
I'm doing a Drawfee bit.
A what?
I'm stealing a bit from a YouTube channel that I like called Drawfee.
Gotcha.
By the way, you should all watch Drawfee. It's really, really good. They had a draw Pokemon from memory series that is like, it's one of the best things I've ever watched on YouTube. It's fucking amazing, because one of the people that they have drawing, Julia, does not play Pokemon. And so she's going in completely blind and frequently ends up drawing either handsome or wretched men as her Pokemon.
Let's see.
But yes, highly recommend them.
So there seems to be some like monkey churchy type place coming up in a couple hours or so, and it seems to be a fairly long and involved like planet worth of stuff. So we're going to try and get through that. That may be too long, and we may end up cutting it short like we normally do. But
so end of Monkey Church Planet, whatever.
Yeah.
Sounds
when
good.
Are we recording next?
We are recording
Wednesday.
Wednesday is my.
Yeah, I thought you'd said Friday.
Friday.
You're right. It's Friday. That's
you two will be recording without me then.
Yeah,
because I'm going to be out of town.
Yeah, we were going to do an Anachronox without you, and then a Last of Us without you, and then a final Last of Us with you if you wanted to.
Cool. Yeah, and I'll play up to. Just let me know wherever I need to play up to for the next
Anachronox. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah. So that seems like it'll probably actually be too long. So maybe before you go to the thingy. I don't know. We'll figure it out, and it'll be figured out before we get there, or it won't, and we'll just play it by ear. But before or after the big church planet is where we're going.
Cool.
The planet seems to be called Haphaestus. So
Oh, yeah, I've heard mention of that.
Yeah, so we'll be playing there. But for now, I am Sam Allman.
I am Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm taking a nap.
Hello.
Be like, oh, I should go get you some water, but past Sam already got my back.
I love when that happens. It's so rare.
Yeah, because usually past Sam hates me, like how past Sam this afternoon was like, wow, the dishes are getting tall. I should go ahead and clear these now while I have some free time so that I don't have to do it after recording. So guess what I'm doing when we stop recording?